Welcome to Golden Aging Health. They say the two forces that shape our lives most deeply are time and language. Time we can never get back once it has passed, and words, once spoken, can never truly be taken back. Time changes the body, yes, but words shape the heart. A single phrase can lift the spirit of an older man or leave behind scars that even decades cannot erase. Have you ever carried a kind sentence with you, like a quiet blessing tucked into your pocket, or remembered words that stung at the time, only to find them echoing in lonely hours years later? That is the power of language. It costs nothing, yet its value is beyond measure. Now, imagine this. You approach love after 60 like a vending machine. You put in your coins, press the button, and wait. Nothing comes out. You push harder, try the same old approach again, and feel only frustration. Many women in senior romance do the same, pressing the wrong emotional buttons, speaking words that never reach the hidden places of a man's heart. Because older men are not machines. They are layered with silence, with burdens they rarely put into words. Yet beneath that quiet exterior lies a longing few ever recognize. Together, we will uncover the secret phrase, the one that almost every man craves to hear, though few will ever ask for it out loud. Before we open this chapter, tap that like button and subscribe to Golden Aging Health, where we explore the quiet truths of dating after 60, senior romance, and the emotional intelligence that makes love last. Now, as we step closer to that secret phrase, we must first understand the quiet force that shapes every connection. It begins with words, the way they can wound, the way they can heal, and the way they carry more weight in a man's heart than most people ever realize. Number 1. The power of words. Before we uncover what men secretly crave, I want to pause with something so ordinary, yet so powerful. Words. Have you ever noticed how words linger, almost like perfume that stays on your clothes long after someone has left? A kind sentence can feel like striking a match in a dark forest. It doesn't erase the shadows, but it offers just enough light to keep walking. And just as easily, a careless phrase can weigh on a man's spirit like sand in his shoes, making every step heavier than the last. We often look at older men and see strength. Their shoulders have carried families, their hands have built careers, their faces marked with endurance. On the outside, they may seem unshaken, but inside, words can cut deeper than any blade. Bones mend with time, but a phrase like "you never do enough" can echo in silence for decades. And yet, the opposite is just as true. A soft phrase, spoken with respect, can lift years of quiet loneliness. I once met a man who said the hardest part of aging wasn't his aching body, but the silence. One evening, his wife simply placed her hand on his shoulder and whispered, "I respect what you've done for us." He told me that in that moment, something heavy inside him finally let go. In love after 60, this matters more than ever, because men carry the weight of decades of words, both the ones that built them and the ones that broke them. Beneath the armor, they long for words that feel like shelter, and though they rarely admit it, the right words can open the door of their heart wider than anything else. So if language holds this much power, what is it that men, especially in their later years, are truly longing to hear? Number 2. What men really need. Have you ever looked at a man you
thought was unshakable and wondered what rests behind that steady silence. From the outside, older men may seem predictable, wrapped in routines, with faces lined by strength and endurance, but they are not carved of stone. They carry quiet layers of emotion, hidden beneath what I often call an armor of silence. For decades, society taught them to bury pain, to keep disappointment hidden, and to measure worth in how steadily they could endure. I am reminded of Seneca's words, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." For many men, that courage looks like pressing forward without complaint, even when the weight inside grows heavy. Women sometimes imagine men are longing for perfection, a flawless body, endless youth, or constant energy. Yet beneath the surface, their need is far more human. What they truly crave is safety, to be seen without judgment, to be valued without correction, to know they can rest in a woman's presence without fear of being compared to impossible standards. In senior romance, this truth becomes clearer. An older man is not searching for glitter or grandeur. He is drawn to the woman who allows him to put down his shield. His sense of a high-value woman comes not from how she dazzles the world, but from how deeply he feels at peace when the world falls quiet. Khalil Gibran once wrote, "Tenderness and kindness are not signs of weakness, but manifestations of strength." And this is the heart of it. Men want a place where their strength is honored, but their tenderness is welcomed too. Let me ask you, have you ever seen a man soften when he finally felt safe in your presence? Share your thoughts in the comments, because your story may give another woman the courage to offer the same gift. Think of a man's spirit like a house. Safety builds the walls, but respect is the foundation. Without it, nothing truly stands.
Number 3. Respect, the core of love. "I love you" can lose its meaning if it is followed by criticism, comparison, or dismissal. Yet a few words of respect can strengthen a man more than 1,000 romantic gestures. I remember a woman named Dorothy, who had been married to her husband Leonard for over 40 years. She told me her greatest lesson was never to confuse love with respect. In the early years, she loved him deeply, but she often pointed out what he lacked, what he should do better, how he could change. She thought she was helping him improve. Instead, she watched him slowly withdraw, spending long hours in the shed, speaking less at the dinner table. Then, one day, almost by accident, she said, "I respect how hard you work for us." She recalled how his whole posture shifted as though a heavy coat had fallen from his shoulders. From that day on, she chose to speak differently, not withholding love, but weaving it with respect. And she noticed their marriage softened in ways she never expected. This is why, in Love After 60, respect often matters more than love itself. Men at this stage know that words of love can be hollow. They may have heard "I love you" spoken without sincerity. What they long for is recognition, to be valued for who they are and what they give. Simple phrases like, "I see you," "I respect what you do," or "I appreciate you," nourish a part of him that has been hungry for years. Love is the sunlight, but respect is the water. Without it, love dries up. With it, even the oldest branches can bloom again. And while respect is the foundation, there is still something rarer that deepens it further: the courage to be vulnerable and the trust that makes it possible.
Number 4. Vulnerability and trust. There comes a time in every relationship when respect alone is not enough. Something more fragile yet more powerful is needed. I often picture two people standing face to face, each wearing heavy armor. They can see one another, even speak, but the steel between them keeps true closeness out of reach. Armor protects, yes, but it also isolates. For many older men, that armor was forged over decades, built on lessons of never crying, never complaining, never faltering. They learned that society rewards stoicism but punishes tenderness. So the armor grew thicker, until even those who loved them most could not always reach inside. Yet in Love After 60, there is a new invitation, the chance to finally set down that weight, to step out of the iron suit and be truly known. Lao Tzu once wrote, "He who conquers others is strong, but he who conquers himself is mighty." In the later years of life, strength is not about wearing armor longer. It is about daring to remove it. And what makes that possible is trust, the quiet assurance that when a man reveals his unguarded self, he will be met not with ridicule, but with gentleness. Think of it as opening a window in a long-closed room. Vulnerability, when welcomed, breathes new life into connection. A man who feels free to whisper, "I'm tired," or "I'm afraid," without shame, is a man who has found true intimacy. Sometimes it takes only one phrase, words like, "I believe in you, and I'm here no matter what." For a man who has carried silent burdens, those words are not reassurance, they are release. Let me ask you, have you noticed how a relationship changes when someone feels safe enough to share hidden fears? Share your reflections in the comments. Your story may help another woman recognize that tender moment when a man begins to lay down his guard. It's a strange thing. The right words, spoken at the wrong time, can feel more painful than silence itself.
Number 5. Timing is everything. I once spoke with a woman named Helen who shared a lesson she learned late in her marriage. Her husband, Victor, came home one evening with heavy shoulders and distant eyes. She tried to comfort him immediately, saying, "You'll be fine, you always are." But instead of softening, he grew even quieter. Later that night, when the house was calmer, she touched his hand and whispered, "I know today was hard, but I respect how you carry so much for us." That time, the words reached him. His eyes filled with tears, and for the first time in years, he let her see him vulnerable. It is a strange thing. The right words, spoken at the wrong moment, can hurt more than silence. For older men, this truth sharpens with age. After decades of routines and disappointments, their emotional rhythm often slows. Sometimes they need space before they can hear tenderness. Other times, a pause makes all the difference between rejection and acceptance. I often imagine it like planting seeds. Even the best seeds will not grow if dropped on dry, cracked soil. The ground must be prepared and softened. In the same way, words of love or respect take root only when spoken into the right season of a man's spirit. This is where emotional intelligence becomes essential in Love After 60. It is not just what you say, but when you choose to say it. A well-timed phrase can feel like shelter after a weary day, while the same phrase, spoken in haste, may sound dismissive. The secret is not in magical words alone, but in speaking them when his heart is ready to hear. That timing is what turns words into nourishment. As we close, I want to leave you with one final picture. Love After 60 is like tending an old garden. The roots run deep, the branches have weathered many storms, and the bark carries the marks of seasons long past.
At first glance, it may seem worn, but with the right care, it still has the power to bloom in ways that surprise us. For older men, the care they long for is not complicated. It is to be seen, to be respected, and to be trusted. These are the waters that reach their roots, and sometimes you may not realize how thirsty they are until you see their spirit respond, like a tree suddenly flowering again in spring. We have spoken about the power of words, the silence that becomes armor, the need for respect, and the rare gift of vulnerability. We have reflected on timing and how a phrase spoken at just the right moment can breathe life back into weary soil. But in the end, it is not about theory. It is about how you choose to speak into the life of the man beside you. Even the strongest man cannot resist when he hears the words, "I see you, I respect you, I believe in you." Those are the words that transform winter branches into blossoms. That is the secret he craves. Not youth, not perfection, but the gentle spring you carry in your voice. Thank you for spending this time with me on Golden Aging Health. If this touched your heart, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who may need it. Until next time, take care of your spirit and keep tending to the gardens of love around you.